What is going on, everybody? It's a bummer. It's a bummer. That's what's going on for us. We are the Painted Lions, and this is the Sixers post-game show of Game 4 of the first round of the playoffs with the Sixers and the Washington Wizards. Sixers fall 122 to 114 after Joel Embiid goes down in the first quarter. I'm here with my man, Dibe, at Mr. Crockpot on Twitter, and at T Scabia Tiago on Twitter. Guys, how you feeling? I'll start with you, Dibes. How you feeling about this?
Brutal game by the Sixers. I'm pissed. I am utterly pissed. You saw the injury to Joel Embiid. The second that he went off the court, the game plan for the Sixers offense also left the court at the same time. The Sixers they were shooting 41+% in this series, went absolutely out the window. Tobias Harris's shot selection went absolutely out the window. The NBA referees, they were already out the window. They've been terrible this entire series, but they were god-awful in this game. And Ben just got mauled this entire game. And there's a lot to unpeel from this game. But to me, this is kind of the pattern of what we have seen throughout the season. When Ben and Joel go out, the entire game plan, Doc doesn't adjust, and it just looks god-awful. Other than Tyrese Maxey, Furkan Korkmaz playing some heroics there in the fourth quarter, the Sixers starters were god-awful. George Hill played great. It was just a complete mess. You know what this felt like? It felt like watching a 2017, 2018, 2019 Sixers playoff game where you're like in it, but you're not really in it, and then you lose it at the end. As great as the first three games were against the Wizards, this brought me back. This brought all those terrible feelings back into this game 4. So it was a bad game. I'm not feeling good right now. The way the refs just completely abused the Sixers here was god-awful, man. Absolutely god-awful. They had no control over this game from the jump. No control. There's Ben Simmons' fourth foul call when he got mauled by Russell Westbrook going to the rim. 10 times out of 10, that's a flagrant on the Sixers this season. Every time. And it was not called on Russell Westbrook. I don't want to make conspiracy calls out here, but conspiracy theories here. But maybe they wanted an extra game just to catch up on some money here. But my God, were they bad.
How about you, Tiago?
Yeah, that Westbrook foul, calling it a common foul is embarrassing. Because you see the guy go up and just two-hand tackle him in midair. And the ref reviews the call and still calls it a common foul. It's absolutely absurd. I thought it was, even with Joel out, I thought it was a very winnable game. I thought that the Sixers, they struggled to find their footing without Joel Embiid. But I thought that overall, it was not a good Doc Rivers game. It was not a good Doc Rivers game. And it started with him going directly to the guy we talked about a lot here, Mike Scott, off the bench. These were minutes that the Sixers lost at a high scale before they finally made some adjustments. And it was a game that really was getting out of hand until you inserted guys like Tyrese Maxey on the court, even a little bit of Furkan Korkmaz, just a little bit more space, a little bit more juice, a little more action to get Washington's defense moving side to side, up and down. And waiting too long to make those adjustments just cost the Sixers a win flat out. So, we can go into more detail about what that looked like on the game itself. But, even with Joel out, and we can talk also about Joel Embiid. Let's hope he's okay. I have some thoughts about the injury as well. But even with him out, it was a winnable game, man. It was a winnable game, and we left it out. We didn't get a chance to bring it home. So it's disappointing for sure.
Tobias Harris really let me down tonight. As great as Tobias Harris has been this season, and it sucks to pick apart one game here, but my God, I'm pretty sure even Justin blocked Tobias Harris tonight, because that was how many times Tobias Harris got blocked at the rim tonight. Westbrook, Bradley Beal, Rui Hachimura. It was a block party on Tobias Harris. I don't know where he was at. Maybe he's in Vegas. Maybe I don't know what he is doing, but my goodness, he already packed. It was clearly he already packed his bags for Philly on Wednesday night. But that guy, I have not seen that less of an efficient Tobias Harris in a well over a year. That was not the Tobias Harris we have seen from this season.
How about not even just Tobias Harris, but how about Dwight Howard's play tonight against Robin Lopez? Dwight Howard, 1.4 fouls versus Lopez's 16 points, as Patronus says down here.
Yeah. But it's not even just the stats, Justin. It's the fact that like you see the stuff that we saw during the regular season with Dwight, which are the dumb fouls, the dumb offensive push-offs. We don't have to do that. So these things cause fouls, points, free throws. And you look at the box score, it's a one possession game in the fourth quarter. Those things make a difference, man. And we talked about this all regular season. You want to live with Dwight doing all his stuff, all his fanfare, his offensive fouls, it's fine. But then you're also going to die with Dwight doing that in the postseason. And you just cannot have that in the postseason. Teams that win championships are buttoned up from player number 1 to player number 10, whatever player comes in. And you can't have a guy come in there and do all these, little plays that there's no impact other than losing when you do stuff like that. So, we saw that all year. You can't be surprised by it.
Yeah, and here's the other thing with that. I'm okay with Dwight Howard not scoring a ton of points, but the real issue was his rebounding tonight for me. I think he only had 4 rebounds, and the Sixers got out-rebounded 57-48. And that's going to kill you, especially when your team is shooting the low percentage. Like Sixers last game were shooting above 50% from both the field and three. Yeah. A little bit below for 3. But tonight they shot 41.7% from the field and 31.6% from 3. So all around, not a very efficient night for them. So that's what makes it tough.
Yeah, you nailed it, Justin. You saw the second Embiid left the court there, the Sixers stopped playing their game. And you talk about getting out rebounding. You talk about I'm not sure how many free throws the Sixers ended up with, but at least at the end of the first half, the Sixers were getting out rebounded 30-22. The Wizards had more free throw attempts. This just wasn't the Sixers at their best. It became more of a street game, running up and down the court. No one knew what a foul was. It was ticky-tack and then mostly going towards the Wizards' way. It was just not a good basketball game. It was a painful game. It was a frustrating game. The referees completely took the Sixers out of this game, emotionally, mentally, physically, whatever you want to call it. But you could tell the Sixers were playing more than one opponent tonight.
Is this a conversation to have? Nanir says, I feel like losing was better, all things considered, but I feel like losing was better, all things considered, but Ben officially scares me in close games. Does that worry you guys? I would say, let's say Embiid's healthy and they're in there, and it's a healthy team. Does that still worry you with Ben at the end of the game?
To me, it doesn't. And I think the conversation with Ben before we get to the free throws, because let's be honest, the free throws are a concern. To say that you're not concerned by the fact that teams are going to foul him in a one-possession game would be disingenuous. Obviously, the guy has to make free throws, and you can't be shooting 40% from the line and expect to win. But to me, the conversation with Ben starts in the third quarter, right? So you come out without Joel Embiid, and like Chris is saying, you're running heavy Tobias Harris ISOs, and you're running pick and roll with Mike Scott. You have your best shot creator, Ben Simmons, sitting on the corner setting screens. I'm sorry, but that's insane. That's absolutely insane. They ran 10 minutes in the third quarter where Ben Simmons barely touched the ball. So people are going to say, well, Ben Simmons needs to be more aggressive. He needs to touch the ball and drive downhill. He's not part of their offensive scheme. These are play calls that Doc Rivers is calling. He's trying to match up Tobias in isolation. He's trying to run a standard pick and roll scheme. And there's no way you can tell me that when Tobias Harris takes 24 shots and Ben Simmons takes 5 shots, that is an aggression issue. It's not an aggression issue. It's a scheme issue. They're scheming the offense through Tobias Harris. That to me is a problem. It's a bigger problem because when Embiid is out, you need Ben Simmons to slide into the shot creator role. And the way that Doc Rivers has supported his offense, it's like he thinks Tobias Harris is Kevin Durant. He's not Kevin Durant. I mean, we all like Tobias. He's had a phenomenal season. But I would say real quick, like
Tobias has been playing really, really well this year. Almost, basically, numbers comparable to Kevin Durant in some ways.
I know, but Justin, we know that he's not Kevin Durant, and you put him in a position to fail. Like I thought that Doc Rivers, like Chris is saying, and he's spot on. Like you're putting Tobias in a position to fail because you're asking him to ISO every trip down. Tobias Harris is not a high-level isolation. He's a good isolation player, but he's not like James Harden. He's not Kevin Durant, and in the meantime, you have your best shot creator, a guy who can come in and break the defense down off the dribble in space, sitting out. And then on top of that, you have Tyrese Maxey. And we saw that 5-minute run in the fourth quarter. That's electrifying. And you take all that time to put this kid in. I mean, I didn't like the game plan. I thought it was a very, very poorly coached game. And, we saw the outcome. So, yeah, but to answer the question, yes, Ben Simmons late in games isn't concerned for that reason. Absolutely.
I think it's unbelievable. It's like watching when you see the starting lineup, the Sixers starting lineup. It's like Hans Zimmer. It's like John Williams out there. It's a beautiful thing. It works. The guys know their roles. I'm not even talking about just starters. Off the bench, everyone seems to know exactly where they fit, where they're supposed to be. Ben Simmons cutting to the basket. Tobias Harris getting some ISO, pick and rolls, two-man game, Seth Curry, Joel Embiid. It's a beautiful thing. But we've seen this so many times this year when one of those goes out. As soon as one piece of that puzzle comes off the board, everything just shits the bed. And it's like Jenga, except one piece and it's falling down and crashing and burning. And it's so frustrating to watch. You look at Seth Curry tonight. Seth Curry has been lights out in this series from three. He was 0-4 from three-point range. Danny Green made a few threes. But that's kind of what you see. As soon as Joel left the court, the air of this game just went with him. And everyone else just kind of was I don't know if they said F it or they didn't know what to do or Doc Rivers not adjusting. There's just so many issues, and it's clear that no one's playing to their strengths. No one. And it's just a weird thing. As good as that, like I said, as Hans Zimmer, John Williams, film composer, they look amazing. It just takes that little push to make them look that bad. And God forbid Joel Embiid gets hurt, man, or Ben Simmons gets hurt, man. That's it. That's truly it. Is if one of those two go down, everything just comes crumbling down with it.
Now, do you guys want to talk about Mike Scott getting in this game and the amount of minutes he got and his role tonight? Now, I know in this year when Embiid's been down, Mike Scott has come in to bring in that spacing so Ben Simmons, I think, can be on the court in those instances. But what did you guys think about Mike Scott being in that game tonight?
So to your point, Justin, if you're going to bring out Mike Scott to space the court for Ben Simmons, but then you have Ben Simmons sitting on the corner as a screener, then why do you have Ben Scott on the court for Ben Simmons? Because you don't have Ben Simmons on the ball. And I'll go a step further. At one point in the second quarter, Washington had Rui Hachimura out at center. You can easily play a lineup with Ben Simmons at 5 or Tobias Harris at 5 with Rui Hachimura center and introduce a ball handler like Tyrese Maxey into the lineup. But Doc continues to roll this rigid lineup of, if all things fail, Mike Scott is my backup center. And it's absolutely insane that we're talking about Mike Scott in a postseason game. Absolutely insane. This guy
Here's how I know T.I. was upset. I'm hearing this.
Yes. No, because we had to bite our lip with Mike Scott for a very long time. This guy is an unplayable NBA player, and he plays at a level much below most of these players. You see guys like Tybalt hustling, you see like Ben Simmons hustle. Everybody's out there is playing at a level that is much higher, and this guy's practically out there jogging and collecting a paycheck. And we're talking about this guy here in the postseason of a game that they need to win to get rest and get ready for what's to come ahead. So, to answer your question, having a conversation about Mike Scott is insane at this point in the game. So, I think we could continue to have that because God forbid if Joel has to sit a game or is injured, do you guys see any other alternative? He does not play Paul Reed. He does not mess around with different lineups. it's going to be Mike Scott, man. So
yeah, and that's Quentin Moore's thought here. He said, if you don't play Scott, who should play center when Howard is racking up fouls? Well, what is the answer to that? Like, obviously, you have Paul Reed on the bench, but he is not battle tested in the playoffs. He's a rookie, just fresh out of the G League. Like, who is your guy there? Anthony Tolliver? Like, what do you guys think?
I've said this before. I think that in certain matchups, you can play Tobias Harris at the 5. Tobias Harris has proven more than capable of defend up position. Again, I'm not saying he should be your backup center, but you can play specific matchups where, again, if you have a guy like Rui Hachimura, he can defend Rui Hachimura, man. The guy's not a powerful player. Same thing with Simmons. Is he an ideal backup center? No, he's not. He's not a good rim protector. But in certain matchups, you can play them. And you have to favor talent over what you think is the right kind of like solution. Because bottom line is, on offense, Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris can give you a lot more than Mike Scott can on the other end of the court. So, we're going to have this conversation over and over again, man. It's going to happen again. And it's incredible that we're talking about this today.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. It just sucks in general that Joel had to got hurt and that this conversation is happening, but it's a valid conversation once, Doc Rivers is throwing that guy in there. What do you guys have any other thoughts about this game? Like, do you want to talk about Russell Westbrook's game tonight? Obviously having an insane game, 19 points, 21 rebounds, 14 assists, but I would like to make it clear that he shot 3 of 19 tonight.
He was determined to shoot Washington out of this game for a while there, man. It was he had a great game. I mean, he's a very powerful player. It's really hard to stay in front of him. And I think that creates a lot of the offensive rebounding numbers that you talked about, Justin. He's a really hard guy going downhill. Some of the stuff that you wish Ben would incorporate in this game. Ben hasn't done that consistently. Also needs the ball to do that. He hasn't had the ball a lot in this game. But I don't know what else Chris wants to add to that. I think we also need to talk about Tyrese Maxey, man, because I think Tyrese was phenomenal today.
Oh, for sure.
My favorite memory of this game with Russell Westbrook was when Tyrese hit a bucket, then he hit a 3, and then blocked Russell Westbrook on the other end.
Yep.
That was absolutely terrific. I have no comment on Mike Scott. I wish if he could just stick with the Hive and just leave Philadelphia altogether. We all know that he's a terrible NBA player. He has been for a long time. Russell Westbrook, I hate that guy so much.
Chris is not in a good place tonight. It's like
I just want to punch him in the face so bad.
Oh God.
He's that hate the face type of basketball player that he's just entitled. He's got that entitled.
So the Wizards have 2 of those guys, Bertans and Russell Westbrook, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't hate Bertans. I don't hate Bertans.
Yeah, but Bertans is a punchable face. You got to be real.
Yeah.
Fine. I don't hate Bertans because he's doing what he does. Westbrook is just a punk. Westbrook is a punk. And there's a lot of things I saw from Bradley Beal who I actually love being a punk tonight. He has been like this for the last few games. And you saw him going at Ben Simmons again and again and again to get him in foul trouble, as he should. As he 100% should. But I don't know. At least going into this series, I didn't think that was Bradley Beal's game. So that's kind of interesting. But Westbrook, man, is a poser by R.C. Campbell. Dude, he is a poser. Just send him with the Hive and Mike Scott. Just get him out. This better be a demolishing of the Wizards on Wednesday night.
Yeah.
I'm hoping Joel Embiid is fine and we just demolish them because this was not anything like we've seen from the Sixers all year. This was just a really top-to-bottom rough game, ref included.
Now, I have 2 other things I want to talk about this game specifically. One is another Wizards player, Daniel Gafford. Daniel Gafford has obviously looked pretty good this series. I think tonight he had 12 points, 4 rebounds, 100% from the field, 5 blocks, and a steal. Obviously, some calls that he got didn't get were a little bit but in general, he just has a lot of energy out there. What do you guys see from him? Because personally, I see a lot of Rashawn Holmes in that guy.
Well,
I see that.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. I think it's a great comp. I'll say this. I think Daniel Gafford benefited from Joel Embiid being out Because I think if Joel Embiid was in there, you wouldn't even hear the guy's name, and Embiid would have just fouled him out or just dominated him. He's a great rim runner. He plays in their scheme very well. Scheme player. Doesn't do much besides, catch rebounds, lobs, and dunks. But, that's what Washington needs around Westbrook. He's fit that scheme very well. I will say this on Bradley Beal, though. I know Chris was going off on him, too. I didn't think Beal needed to do the little, the little dive game today. I think it was a little bit, you're trying to get Ben in foul trouble. You don't need that, man. You're a star player, man. Man up. You don't need that stuff in your game, man. I thought it was a little bit shade on his part. This is
what you get when you have a team on the brink. You know what I mean? And I get it. I 100% get it. They're getting desperate. They're all posers per RC Campbell. I love it. This game hurts, man.
Yeah. So let's, being that we're in pain from this game, let's get into Tyrese Maxey, because that's one bright spot that was definitely in this game. Tyrese Maxey ends the game with 21 minutes played, 15 points, 2 assists, a rebound, shooting 50% on 12 shots with a block and a steal, and then shooting 2 for 3 from behind the arc. So obviously offensively had a very good game and got that block on Russell Westbrook. So you love to see that. So overall, what are your guys' thoughts on Maxey tonight? Considering another thing, he played 21 minutes when Shake Milton played 7.
Yeah, I actually thought that you saw Shake Milton in attack mode early on, and I'm just like, nah, man. It's clear that Shake Milton is just out of sync right now offensively. And I was like, at least to start, give the ball to Tyrese, because there was a segment of time where Tyrese didn't even touch the ball on the court. But man, that fourth quarter display, what do you have, 7-8 points there in the fourth quarter, right before Hackabend started. I think he left the court right there when that all started. So Tyrese was terrific, and he has been all series long in as a vacuum scorer. This guy again and again, I comped this guy to Lou Williams at the start of the season, and I think that's 100% on the money as I see this guy progressing moving forward. He, as a 6-man, Lou Will, high, big time scorer off the bench. No one can stop him getting to the rim. It's clear that Shake is just in his own head when it comes to, breaking a man off the dribble, trying to get points, trying to get buckets. Tyrese does it just so naturally. And we saw it again tonight. So your guess is as good as mine. I liked what I saw from George Hill. I have no idea how Shake Milton continues to get minutes when Tyrese, you got to give him the ball.
Yeah, what was really impressive about Tyrese today was the fact that I didn't think he had a good first half. I thought he was not very poised in that second quarter. He made a couple poor decisions, poor defensive plays. And for him to come back in that fourth quarter with the game kind of on the balance and have that stretch where he was just dominant, man, absolutely dominant. I think that speaks volumes about the player, about the character, and about the impact that it can have in a playoff series. I mean, what we're seeing right now from Tyrese Maxey, to me, is a growth and the next step in his development that is very, very impressive. And I think the Sixers have identified that. Justin, you touched on it, 21 minutes to 7 minutes. Again, that is not by accident. That is planned. They've identified that Maxey is the better player over Shake. It's a shame that it's taken us 70-some games to get to that point, but it finally has. And listen, I've talked about this. I think the next step with Maxey going forward is playing him some with the starters. He's out there mostly with backup minutes, and he's trying to do the best that he can with the players around him. I think that if you pair him with Ben, Joel, Danny Green, or Seth Curry, Tobias, man, that could be very exciting, because what he does off the dribble is extremely, extremely important. He was the best player on the Sixers tonight without any questions. And that speaks volumes, man. Kid's 20 years old. It's impressive.
It's his ability to take a man off the dribble. The Sixers don't have a shot creator, a guy that can do that beyond Tobias and Ben.
He can do some of that, but you got to give him the ball.
Yeah, but Tobias Harris, man, Jesus. But Tyrese Maxey, you just know what you're going to get. Like, Ben is inconsistent to a fault, and I love Ben. Don't get me wrong. Like, all I do is love on Ben. But Ben has his faults for sure. But Tyrese Maxey knows what his role is there, and you've got to be impressed with his defense, especially as of late. And he is earning the minutes. He's like easily top 3 storylines heading into the Sixers offseason and his development moving forward. So it'd be really interesting to see what Doc does with Tyrese. We've been talking about kind of this on our NBA draft, Sixers draft previews, Tiago. But Tyrese is awesome. I mean, he's got that super quick first step. He's got hit the ball on a string. His touch around the rim is undeniable. It's just kind of developing everything else. But his potential in the pick and roll, his potential as scoring combo guard is really, really fun.
So to end this, do you guys have any other points about this game? Anything we missed? Anything you want to touch on?
I mean, Joel Embiid, man. Joel Embiid is, in my opinion, the MVP of the league. Joel Embiid is the best player in the NBA. The Sixers can win a championship with Joel Embiid. But the Sixers are a scary, scary team with Joel Embiid. And let's all hope that everything is okay with Joel. I think everything's going to be fine. It didn't look like he might have been that serious. But there's a reason why guys like LeBron James plays for 18 years and wins multiple rings. And I think when you make that decision to go up for that dunk in game 4 of a series that you have already won, I think you're missing the big picture. And I thought that it was a little bit of a reckless play by Embiid. And I understand there's a competitive fire there that you have to account for, right? We all play sports. There's like a trigger sometimes. You're like, I'm going to go get this because I'm a competitive player. But you have to have the bigger picture in mind, man. The Sixers have everything to play for. And you have to kind of sometimes simmer down in certain situations. And I thought Embiid kind of put his body at risk there. And let's hope he's okay, man. The Sixers can't go anywhere without Joel Embiid, and they can go everywhere with Joel Embiid. So, let's hope he's okay.
Definitely. I know Chris wanted to say something.
I just wanted to give like one of those like Jason Kelsey's like F you to the refs really, really quick. I'm not going to, man. I'm deflated. I'm hurting.
I got you.
That was a tough game to watch. The final thought of this game is that the Sixers, that trickle effect that I talked about earlier, is that when Joel Embiid leaves the court, everyone's kind of left like just trying to pick up the pieces, and that's concerning. And as like I said, as good as like the Sixers are the best of the best when they're healthy and they're clicking, but we've seen this again and again that there are so many like individual pieces that don't fit. And when Joel Embiid or Ben Simmons leaves the court, like Danny Green has to step up, and then we get inefficient Tobias showing up, and then then Steph Curry doesn't. The spacing just falls off. Everyone forgets how to shoot. We've seen that countless times this season. That's my concern, is that Joel Embiid better be healthy, man, or else I'm not going to be sleeping for the next several weeks. So Joel, get well soon, buddy.
Yeah, and hopefully he gets well in time for Game 5 at the Wells Fargo Center, where the Sixers will have 100% capacity there. So good luck to the Wizards on beating the Sixers in 100% capacity. Wells Fargo Center. So, guys, we are going to leave you with that. If you do not already, please go follow the Painted Lines on Twitter. Go follow at Mr. Crockpot on Twitter. Go follow at T-Scabia on Twitter. And listen, hope Game 5 goes better than today, and hope Joel is back for that game. Guys, we will see you next time. Go Sixers.
We'll be back.
Have a good one.